We're gonna get Reggie is Heisman back.
Oh.
So many statements.
That's not a debate. That's not a debate. No one needs to put that in the comments.
Are we starting the petition here?
Yeah, let's start it right here. Can you imagine if we actually start a movement for this and we're quoted? We're quoted in the New York Times as this petition was started on Turf Talks podcast to get Reggie Bush his Heisman back.
One of the
every like is a signature.
That's what we're going to bring to Congress. We're going to bring it to Congress.
Identify yourself.
What up, Council? My name is
Turf Talks.
I'm an activist and
Heisman
enthusiast. Over the past week, I've been in a state of deep despair upon hearing the news that LA is trying to outlaw
Reggie from getting his Heisman.
We'll put it out there.
Well, we're going to do it for you. Reggie.
Hold on. How can I explain myself? You said you cared for me,
Louisiana. Murder on the beat. Something for y'all to cut up to, you know?
Dude, I can do a backflip.
Everybody get your roll on. I know shorty and she doesn't want no slow song. Had a man last year life.
Welcome back, Turf Talks, episode number 18, I believe. I know we've kind of been all goofy with our numbers. Welcome back to the show, guys. We have the boys back in the house. Thank you guys all for watching, as always. Gentlemen, welcome back. Another weekend of football for us. Another weekend of us to probably talk about stuff that we probably didn't do other than just watch football. But hey, how was the weekend, gentlemen? Everybody have a good one? It was a cold one for us, to say the least, up here in South
ungodly cold.
Yeah, I honestly just stayed inside. I think I went outside to start my car in the morning, and it was freezing. I said, "Yep, not going outside today."
Was it like Saturday was like super cold? Was like the really bad day?
I think Sunday was cold.
Sunday was the bad day.
Was it really? Oh gosh. Well, like all the days
like 50 with the wind chill.
I mean, yeah.
The actual temp, just so you all know that are watching, I think most of us that watch, or anybody that watches this show, are pretty much based in the same area. So you understand what we're talking about. But for those of you that don't understand cold, as we understand in South Dakota, the regular temp was negative 18 degrees, I think, on one day. And with the wind chill, it was negative 54. So if you don't know what that feels like
around here, there's nothing stopping the wind.
No. So if you guys don't know what that feels like from like a cold perspective, just picture somebody with a cold like metal pan, and as soon as you walk out the door, they just smack you in the face with it.
Smack you in the face.
That's an equivalent to what it feels like whenever you walk outside in that type of cold. So for us, yeah, it was okay if we all stayed in this weekend. I think for the most part, it was not an enjoyable time to live in South Dakota, to say the least. At least,
well, I mean, also it was a win-win. I don't have to go outside, exactly. And I get to just lay there, watch football.
Mm-hmm. We had a really full weekend of football. We always talk about this. Oh, a lot of good football games. There truly was a lot of good games. There was a lot of blowouts too this week too. But more than anything, we had football games on Saturday. On Sunday. And also we had games on Monday too, which is exciting. So that was always a good time. Kind of a weird game there with the Bills being like at 3:30 in the afternoon or something like that. Crazy too. But yeah, anybody do anything else besides try to stay warm and survive the cold, or maybe watch some football this weekend? Or should we just
let's play football. I'm sitting my ass in front of a TV and I'm watching that.
So Wyatt has no life during the next couple weeks of
Eating college football and NFL football, we all go together. It's just sit your ass down on the weekend and just watch football.
We talked about this last week. That's why football's so damn cool, is the fact that every single weekend you have Saturday and Sunday college and professional football, and that's what you're doing on those 2 days. And you're sitting your ass down and you're watching some football games. Why don't we do that? Why don't we just dive into let's just dive into the weekend recap, guys. Already going into some of the games that we had this last weekend. Obviously it was Super Wild Card Weekend, I believe is what the official brand name of it is now. How long has that been a thing? I know that it never used to be Super Wild Card Weekend.
A couple of years now.
Last 2 or 3 years. Last 2 or 3 years. Well, the third year of Super Wild Card Weekend, as they always called it. It consisted of, I think, how many games we have total? Was it like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games? So we had a lot of good football to watch, literally on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, which is kind of cool. First one's being Texans versus Browns. So Wyatt, obviously, you've been a huge Texans fan this whole year, including with CJ Stroud, obviously. One of his bigger supporters, even when we didn't support him at one point. I think now we're realizing, this guy's kind of for real. This guy kind of knows how to play football, if you want to call it that. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think about the fact that CJ Stroud absolutely balled out against the Browns?
First off, I didn't think the Texans were going to do this. Like, I thought they were going to give, obviously, tough teams like some trouble games down the late stretch of the season. But for them to do this, and, I mean, CJ Stroud, I think, has impressed every single one of us. Like, for what he's been able to do as his first playoff start, I mean, perfect passer rating, 16 for 21, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just absolutely diced up, probably the number 2 defense in the league. It just was an absolute stunning and just quite an awesome thing to watch.
Yeah.
Great.
And you're almost speechless there, Wyatt. You don't know you have
I
the
was
words for it.
To be honest with you. That's nothing you expect though from a first year guy like a rookie.
Didn't he break some records too? Playoff records, that is, on like
Youngest
first playoff.
Well, perfect passer rating game in a playoff game.
Gotcha.
I know that was one.
That's pretty cool.
It was tied. It was tied with him and Love.
Yeah. Well,
that's
Love
true.
Wasn't a rookie though. He broke the rookie one.
First career start or some shit
there
like
go.
that.
Yeah, his first career playoff game that he's played though. Yeah, he still has a passing rating. Just cool.
Debut.
I think it's maybe like your playoff debut. Maybe it probably was a rookie record too. Wyatt, I'm not gonna lie, there probably was the rookie factor of it.
I don't know if it was a debut record. I cannot officially tell you that, but I know it was a rookie record. But also going back into the Texans, how about this defense, boys? I mean, this front, they're flying.
He had a game and a half.
D'Amico Ryan is in his bag with his coverages and like dialing in, dropping Will Anderson back. I mean, blitzing. Potential rookie of the year. I mean, he's a captain too. He's been absolutely stunning. I agree that this is the team that could make a potential run this entire playoffs. And I mean, don't get me wrong, a tough task coming into Baltimore, but I believe that this team has what it takes. They got the faith, they got the belief power, everything. I love this team.
Well, thinking about it, I know I don't really watch Part of My Take that much. You guys suggested it. I actually started watching a little bit today. And today's Tuesday, what is it? January 16th right now. But they were talking about on their last show, I think just a couple days ago. They had a 2+ 20,000 chance to make the Super Bowl. They had the lowest odds going into this coming season, or this last season, I should say, that we just completed. So like they really nailed their draft, to say the least, with those CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, both in candidates of being offensive rookie and defensive rookie, just like the Jets did last year, I think. Didn't they get it actually? Both.
Yes.
They both won it. So great draft by the Texans. On the other end of this game, though, the Browns, Joe Flacco fell off. Did not look good.
He put up the same numbers that he would have any other game. It's just the defense wasn't there to be there ready for him.
2 back-to-back pick
interceptions.
2 back-to-back like pick sixes did not help his case whatsoever. But no, Joe Flacco not look great overall. The Browns just kind of did get defeated. Not to take away anything from that team though, because they've been injury bugged prone the entire year. Starting with their star running back went down I think week 2. Yeah. So like. The fact that they were on their 4th quarterback and they were still competing and they're still in it like this, props to them. They made the playoffs. That's something that not a lot of other teams can say. Seahawks can't even say that.
11-5, 5th seed. That's tough to do.
That's a great record. So overall, shout out to the Browns for a good season, but Texans, I think they have a lot to prove, and they have a lot to not even to lose. They have anything and everything to honestly gain from this. Yes. So great game by the Texans there. Jumping into the Dolphins versus Chiefs, guys. This one, I think we all kind of, not necessarily we all expected, but when you're looking at it, it's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce in the playoffs. You never know what you're going to expect. Besides, they're going to probably figure out a way to win the damn game, and that's kind of what happened.
Is not good.
Exactly. Not to mention
That's
the fact
what I
that
was saying.
this
That's
was
what I was
the
gonna
fourth
say.
coldest game ever. Fourth coldest game ever.
Was
I
it
mean,
the
That's what
fourth
I
or
was gonna say.
was it the third?
Fourth, because the third was
Fourth
the Seattle
coldest
versus
playoff.
Minnesota. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Coldest playoff. Fourth coldest playoff game.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
that's what it was then.
so it was the third. Oh no, never mind. I went to bed. Never.
No, I don't think it would be. That.
Anyways, about
Yes.
the cold though, like I knew right away when it was in Kansas City, I knew it was going to be tough for the Dolphins. Even if it wasn't as cold as it was, it's still going to be cold. It's January. Are we in January still?
Yeah, we're in January. So.
It's January in Kansas City. You like us being from South Dakota, like we talked earlier. Like we know how being in the cold is, but when you're living in Miami and it's the coldest is 50 there, like it's obviously going to be a climate change for them for
That's
sure.
t-shirt and short weather.
Literally, well, they were talking about it. Like, they were joking, like, oh, what do they do to prepare for the game? Turn on the AC in the practice facility? Like, there's no way you can prepare for that type of cold unless you're from that
you've
area.
experienced it.
Like, even for us, we were talking about this, I think, just the other day on whatever we're talking on, I threw or whatever, maybe. We know how cold that can be and how cold that feels. None of us even know what that feels like to play a football game in that cold of weather. We've played in some pretty cold football games.
We've played in a cold one, Zach.
Yeah, but not -5 as like, or whatever it may be, as like the
With wind chill,
wind
like
chill,
negative 20 or
we've
whatever.
never experienced that. I think we
never.
experienced like 20s with snow. That was
Yeah,
probably the coldest
all I
we've been.
remember is one game when I was running for a touchdown, like I dove for the end zone, and I didn't even remember if I had the ball in my hands still because my hands were so frozen. Like that's all I was saying. Like the whole
I feel
time.
it too.
Like,
I feel it too. So I definitely felt that, like, dude, I don't even know what they're experiencing right now. You have to be mentally tough to want to go tackle people in that kind of weather and hit people. So
tackling, even catching too. Like
literally all of
Your
that.
And
hands
it
are so
doesn't
cold.
it doesn't help that the Chiefs have Isaiah Pacheco, who literally wants to
He's a
hurt you
cheat
at
code in
running.
that kind of. He's a cheat code in that kind of weather because he's not gonna not run any less yards than he
No,
normally does.
I that's coming into play, bro. I mean, he's trudging through that snow like no one else, bro. He's
got the best Mamba mentality, bro, for sure.
Dude's trying
Well,
to
no gas,
break
no
the
break.
fucking turf.
And I will say this: the Dolphins, the cold we're talking about it right now, it was 100% a factor of why the Dolphins looked like crap against the Chiefs this last weekend. The offensively, I think there may people like some people maybe like taking shots at Mike McDaniel of what he's doing on offense and stuff because he's had a great season offensively. I think some of them were like, why are you running a screen pass only the entire game? I think a little bit of it was he also knew the limitations of his team being from Miami, being in a cold game. He knew that they're not going to be able to play to the level that they probably have been all season. So like, there's a lot of weird situations with that altogether, but I mean, the Chiefs ran away with this game, and the Chiefs looked like the Chiefs from last couple of seasons again. So it's like, are we really going to see the Chiefs go to another Super Bowl? I really personally hope not because I want to see somebody else be able to make it finally. But like, you can't take it away from them.
I know, yeah, but yeah, you have to give them their flowers and just realize the things that they've done in these past few years is actually just crazy. Like when it's playoff time, they just flip the switch and they're locked in.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's definitely a different thing. Rashid Rice, dominant rookie. He's coming out like good for them to finally have another guy to go to besides Travis Kelce. They haven't had that for even a couple of years since they've gotten rid of Tyreek. So like that's a huge thing for the Chiefs. And for me, like I don't want to see the Chiefs obviously have another like, oh gosh, here's another great receiver for them, with the greatest quarterback of all time potentially,
For me, this game comes down to defense. When you got negative 20-degree weather, you got to expect your defense to show up. And, I mean, this Dolphins defense was banged up. I mean, from start to finish. Losing Bradley Chubb definitely doesn't help. We're having to rely on Christian Wilkins. I mean, Javon Howard, he was out, the starting safety. Like, this entire defense just is falling apart. And I don't want to blame.
They had a bunch of injuries during the game, too.
Yeah, I don't want to blame Vic
so
Fangio
cold, I'm
because
guessing.
he's done one hell of a job down there. But like it comes down to that. Like especially in this Chiefs team, they don't have a true number 2 receiver. Rashid Rice is now the number 1 receiver. Like And then you have Travis Kelce, who's basically a number 1 wide receiver too, but they don't have a true number 2 receiver that you could just throw the ball to, which kind of makes them a little bit vulnerable when you come into a place like Buffalo next week, where I'd be a little bit nervous. And especially if you're going to play these cold weather games again, like it just snowed freaking 36 inches out there. And you were like, they had fans out there shoveling snow. So I don't want to take anything away, but I think the Dolphins defense was the main beneficiary factor for this.
Oh, they're the main reason why the Chiefs beat the crap out of them.
Another big reason that I don't want to like talk about lightly, but it's the Chiefs defense was actually, they looked insane at the line. Like they were beating them at the line every single snap.
Yeah.
You take away the Dolphins' speed, they're not shit.
They don't have a lot going for them.
They don't have They don't have a runner that can run between the tackles. Yeah, they have all these speed running backs that if they get out in space, but like A-Chain ain't gonna run you over. Mostert's not gonna run you over. I mean, Tyreek's not gonna run you over. No, he won't.
And they have Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson will definitely run your ass over.
He doesn't play though.
Doesn't play.
That's crazy. They don't utilize him. He's still got the 4.4 speed, but he's a little bit bigger. He weighs a little more. I mean, he's
not a true like in between the tackle downhill runner. Yeah. He's still more of a speed running back. You don't have like
like that. Jeff Wilson was probably your best answer going into that game, and they probably should have utilized him more.
Yeah. Well, all I will say, guys, to kind of recap or just kind of put a cap on this one, Dolphins had a hell of a season. I mean, they kind of came out of nowhere. I think there's a lot of like, hey, they really could be good. One of the best offenses we've seen in recent memory, really, really potent offense this entire season. Had a great season, and there's still more to come, I think, from the Dolphins. It's just kind of an unfortunate timing, the fact they had to play in the 4th coldest game ever, and they're from Miami. Just kind of a tough situation. I mean, and it's Pat Mahomes in the playoffs, so that doesn't help either, you know?
Yeah, doesn't help.
I mean, one little other thing before we go on to the next game, I didn't know if you guys saw, but I saw a bunch of stuff talking about if Tua's done there. If they're going to go get Caleb Williams, because Caleb Williams has said multiple times that Dolphins, the team he would want to go to.
It would be a great place to go as a young quarterback, in my opinion, because there's a lot of weapons, a lot of potential to look good in that system. I don't know. I don't know if they move off of Tua though. I think Tua's a Dolphin. I think Mike McDaniel and Tua are too close to break those two up, in my opinion.
I've been seeing stuff that they go out there.
I don't know what they're going to give. Like, you can't just give Tua for
the first round, first overall.
They have Justin Fields there, so like that's not going to work.
Be interesting.
Be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, never know. Well, we can dive into that later because the draft will be awesome to talk about. I'm sure we'll cover all that good stuff here on the show. Packers versus Cowboys. So this one, we talked about this for a little bit just as a group last pod. And I think a lot of us were very torn on what's going to happen. I did pick the Cowboys initially. I like my pick'ems just because the Cowboys on paper should have won this game. They've had a great offense all season. Defense isn't playing good too. But the Cowboys be the Cowboys. As we talk about the Lions being the same old Lions, they're not anymore, guys. The Cowboys, though, are the same old Cowboys. And I have a stat for you.
We them boys.
I know. Yeah. The Cowboys, even though they've won some playoff games, anybody know the last time they've been to the NFC Championship game?
1992.
It's been a minute.
93
was like the guy.
93.
It's been about 30 years since they've even been to an NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Can I preface that again? Not one, not two, but 3 decades of not even making it to the Final Four. And yet Cowboys fans every year go, this is our year. We're going to win it all. Guys, let's make it to the Final Four first before you say, let's just win the whole damn thing. You've been there for 30 years.
Since 2002, the inaugural season of the Texans, the Cowboys have won 4 playoff games. The Texans have won 5.
That's rough. And the Cowboys... They've had good teams. That's the thing that's crazy. They've had some good teams. This year was a great team. Dak Prescott's still an MVP candidate for this season. I can't help but think that this is going to tarnish his performance in this first playoff game. That had to have tarnished his chance of winning it, even though it's not counted towards his actual MVP race. They can't not take the fact that he threw 2 picks look like crap during this first game.
But he threw for like 400 yards. Don't you know? He threw for like 400 yards.
It's crazy.
41-7 at half, bro. They were toasting at that point.
That was
sarcasm. I mean, it was just two different halves for the Cowboys. Like they couldn't do anything the first half, and then in the second half they were going off, but it was just too late.
Yeah,
I'm sure like the Cowboys like let off the gas a little bit too, but
yeah,
and Packers.
It's worth it. Well, I was gonna say it's
because they brought in their second team for a series, and then they went 3-0, and then the Cowboys scored, so then they brought their starters back in.
There was 8 minutes left. Sean Clifford was out there. I was like, what the hell? It's a close game. There's still a 2-possession game.
Why don't we just dive into it? Jordan Love had one of his best games ever. Perfect passer rating to begin with for you guys, but the fact that the fact that Jordan Love, first ever playoff game, sat behind Aaron Rodgers for literally 4 years, and I don't think anybody was expecting him to do anything. They weren't expecting him to be the next Aaron Rodgers, even though they had that they weren't actually expecting it to happen, even though that's kind of the preset expectations for him stepping in as the Packers' new starting quarterback.
I think, quote unquote, this soon. I think they were expecting it, just not this soon.
That's true. But he came out of nowhere, especially towards the second half of the season after their bye week, and completely lit the league on fire. He's firing on literally all cylinders right now with his team, who have the exact same amount of weapons or the same weapons as Aaron Rodgers did last year, and they were not nearly as successful. He looks like he looks like prime Aaron Rodgers with what he's doing right now.
I mean, he didn't have the tight ends that Jordan Love has right now.
I'm not going to put that on the tight ends if that's the only reason why Aaron Rodgers couldn't succeed.
Also, shout out Aaron Jones.
I was going to get there, Trey.
He is turning up.
I can't.
He owns the Cowboys.
I can't ignore the fact that since Aaron Jones has been back, Jordan Love has been putting up bigger numbers. Aaron Jones is such a difference maker on offense. Like Devin, one of my buddies, that a Packers fan. He doesn't know how he feels about Aaron Jones. I just tell him all the time, like, Aaron Jones just does things that you can't have anyone else replace him for.
Underrated running back.
Jordan Love only had to pass the ball 21 times. Where like previous weeks, he's been passing the ball 40 to 50 times a game. Just because Aaron Jones has been out and then AJ Dillon hasn't been as productive. So like for him to like actually get to
AJ Dillon's been out
40 range to run pass has been great for Jordan Love, opening the play action, which is allowing these tight ends to sneak open in these like off routes. And it's just, I mean, the offense is in his bag.
Aaron Jones
shout out Tucker Kraft, by the way. Tucker Kraft.
Aaron Jones so good is that like he's so good at running, but then he's also so good at receiving too. He's such a good receiver. He's almost up there with Christian McCaffrey, I think, for like a receiving running back.
He's up there for one of the best.
And the thing is, he doesn't get his roses for a lot of it this year because he's been injured and he was out a lot of the season.
He is kind of injured.
But also because, like, I think there's a lot of, he is Aaron Rodgers, so I think Aaron Rodgers just makes him better than he actually is. Maybe was a part of, like, the dynamic with him because he's never been considered one of the best in the league. He's good. He's like, I would say, people would say top 10, but he's never broken that top 5 barrier for, I think, anybody, which from like a dynamic perspective in a league that we've talked about this over and over and over again, guys, every single week, you need to be able to do both as a running back or be able to do it by committee, have one that can run, one that can catch, or have a guy that can literally do both because that's what you need to do in the NFL these days. You have to have the ability to do both running and catching as a running back.
When you're looking at a running back that can do both, he's 100%. I think he's top 5 for that part.
Like, I mean, you're thinking Chris McCaffrey won. Alvin Kamara's up there too. I would say.
But like who else?
I mean, Aaron Jones. I would say
not bad, but
he's not as good at receiving. What's that?
You can throw Tony Pollard up there. He's pretty damn good at getting downhill.
I don't know. Well. He's good, but he's had a really.
He hasn't been
he's kind of had a rough year. It's just like I honestly don't know if there's many other running backs up there at this time that would overtake either of those guys. You know what I mean? Like besides Aaron Jones in this case. it's like I think Aaron Jones would be a solid third spot in that list. I was thinking of somebody else, but I forgot who
Joe
it was in my
Mixon, you
mind.
could probably throw in there last year.
Oh,
But I don't know
or
about-
Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler, obviously kind of an off
That
year
too.
too, but he's been
That too.
notorious for a great receiver / running back in
You
that
said
case
Kamara,
too.
right?
Probably more so receiving than he is
Kamara,
running. Yeah, Kamara I think is easily two behind Christian McCaffrey. Kamara is way too good at football. Is the best way to say it. But overall, Aaron Jones kind of coming to live, and I think being able to get his roses in that case is really good because he's a great running back. Not to mention, again, Jordan Love, one of the best games he's ever played. First playoff game, perfect pass rating against the higher seed Dallas Cowboys in Dallas or in the Cowboys Stadium, like crazy. Mike McCarthy, probably gone, by the way. Jerry Jones likes to make, I think, some pretty abrupt decisions. I think he's gone. Think about it, Wyatt, though. Look at all the coaches that are still out there right now that he could get instead of Mike McCarthy. Jerry Jones does not have a bottom to his pocket. He's going to be able to pay people.
There's only
That-
three coaches
if it was
that you
any
give
other
up
team-
for. There's only three
yeah.
coaches you give them up for. If you can't get those three coaches, you keep them. That's
Yeah, I
how
was
it's-
gonna say,
yeah, that's
there's
true.
only one team that if you because like Jerry Jones, obviously he can do that, but like if you have to think about it, like, is there any other team that would want Mike McCarthy? And there's
No.
1,000%, 10 teams that would take him.
Yeah.
Like
I think in a heartbeat.
you could tell it because he does the play calling for their offense, and their offense did great things this year. Like,
All right,
But
I should
you
say,
gotta
I
think
should
about
say
it,
four
though.
because Dan Quinn's sitting
What did
there at
they
that
do?
defensive coordinator position. He might be moving up. That could
That's what I'm
be
saying.
a logistic
That-
opportunity in Dallas.
Wasn't he already a
Dan
head
Quinn
coach?
yeah, Dan Quinn was already a head coach.
Yeah, for the Falcons. I mean, he did the
He sucked.
complete rebuild for the Falcons. I mean, they made the playoffs, like
They-
revamped it.
There's a lot of goofiness with that because Dan Quinn also had Kyle Shanahan as his offensive coordinator in Falcons, and I think there's a lot of success that
But he's
probably
a,
came from Kyle
he's a
Shanahan.
defensive coordinator. Whoa. He's a defensive coordinator, though. Like,
I don't-
that's his background.
But after Kyle Shanahan left and went to the 49ers, they sucked, and that's why he got fired. Because I don't know. I mean, you can't say that Kyle Shanahan didn't help him. Kyle Shanahan's one of the best offensive mind in the game. So, like, that definitely helps him.
One of the
too.
best
that's
coaches
not
in the
what I'm
game.
arguing,
Yeah.
But sometimes, like when you bring a coach in, like we did, we brought Ron Rivera to just completely scrap everything, start all over, bring in a great tradition. I mean, that's what Dan Quinn can do for your team. And I just think that he's just a great people person to just bring a team close together and really get, just get a whole front office and everything together.
I think
If they
some
wanna
coaches
do
are
that-
meant to be head coaches, and some coaches are meant to be just coordinators.
I agree. And we'll get to it just
You
a
are
minute,
100%
guys.
correct.
We'll get to him in just a minute. Let's dive into the rest of these games, though. First, Lions versus Rams was the other one we had. I think was it Sunday night or Saturday night?
Sunday night.
It was
Sunday,
Sunday,
yeah.
yes. The only thing I'll take away from this game is Lions are no longer the Lions of the past. They are a new breed. Dan Campbell has brought this organization from the dead, 30 plus years without a playoff win, and he's able to do it within his second year at the team. Not only were
Big year
they
for Michigan football.
not only what's that?
Big year for Michigan football.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, you guys national champions for college there, and then going back, your Detroit Lions win a playoff game, to say the least. Not only did they win a playoff game, they're the third seed in the NFC right now. I'm pretty sure, right? Third or second seed. So, like, I think it's
Technically,
third
second seed.
because the Cowboys lost. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they were the third seed going in, as in a pretty good darn team going into the playoffs. So it's like, shout out to them. I am super happy for them. Now, again, the Seahawks are in there, so it's like I really don't care anymore at this point. I want the Lions to win this thing, in my opinion. There's so many. That'd be so cool of a story. Jared Goff kind of have a redemption story. The whole city of Detroit to have a redemption story. Dan Campbell. I mean, it's such a cool story, in my opinion.
I mean, to me, the Lions might be the most complete team besides the 49ers. If
the
you
49ers
think about it,
are up
like,
there for sure.
their offense and defense both can help your team win in so many ways.
I think
I just-
Ravens have a reason to be up there too, unless you're just talking
Yeah.
NFC. But
Well, yeah, but like Lamar's such a big part in that team, is
Yeah.
what I'm getting at. And like the Lions, like Goff doesn't have to be a big part of their offense. Hutchinson,
I don't
doesn't
think
have-
Lions are doing what they're doing without Goff.
Well,
No, I
you
know
don't
that.
have
I'm
to
not
go to the
I'm
playoffs
not
right
saying
now.
The biggest thing I
Not
think
what
what
I'm
you're
saying.
yes, what you're alluding to though, Dalen, is the fact that Lamar definitely like forces that team to win games right now. He literally carries the team on his back at times. Jared Goff has been playing great. Jared Goff has had a really, really good season for him. But I think the run game in Detroit is much better than it is in like Baltimore. And so for that piece alone, like I think there is a good case to say like, hey, because they have such a complete run game, because their pass game is also good too, because their defense is pretty solid. It has its moments, but they're definitely a solid overall team. Like I agree with you, Dale. They are one of the more complete teams. Ravens without Lamar, that offense is not doing what they're doing right now. It's just the fact of it. They're not doing what they're doing without Lamar. Jared
Especially
Goff,
now having a true number one running back as well. They're not doing what.
exactly. Jared Goff isn't replaceable necessarily. Like he definitely has a role on
throwing the
that
ball
team.
damn near 50
He's
times a
playing
game,
he's
bro.
playing very well. But what I'm saying is I think it's kind of like a 49ers situation where they don't have to have this all-star quarterback. They could have Brock Purdy, who obviously we've talked about this. He's not bad, but he's not the greatest of all time. And so he's able to play and win games and look good because he's got such a complete team around him too.
Well, yeah, and I
think
mean,
it's
You
a
got to
similar
throw
situation.
quarterback and make life easier. That's what you're saying.
And what I was
you
getting
gotta
at
be able to do your job.
is because the quarterback comparison in that game, like statistically, Matthew Stafford had a decently better game than Goff.
Yeah.
Like because Stafford was 25 for 36, 367 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Goff was 22 for 27, 277 yards and 1 touchdown. So
he's
obviously
definitely a little bit more accurate, but I mean Stafford
going
was
off.
slinging that thing. I mean Stafford threw the ball only 3 more times and had almost 100 more yards.
A lot of
If
that stuff,
you
though,
thought Matt
Puka
Stafford
making
was
plays,
dead,
though, bro. Puka was unbelievable that game. I mean,
he set
was
another
open.
record.
Offensive rookie of the year.
Bro, he was he's the reason why Matthew Stafford's numbers were that good.
Yeah, just like
No
CJ
question.
Stroud, Puka Nacua set the record for most receiving yards by a rookie in a playoff game.
yeah,
He had 9
broke
receptions,
Rasheed Rice's.
181 yards, 1
It
touchdown.
was DK's record, and he beat it.
No,
Damn it.
Didn't Rasheed Rice get it the night before, and then Puka broke it the next night?
No, DK had the
I don't
record.
think Rashid got it.
Yeah,
thought
DK had a
Rasheed had it.
crazy game against the Eagles.
It was
dude.
182 was DK's record, and Puka put up what?
Well, I think it was a little bit
Put up
less because
182.
he put
I
it
think it was
180.
180.
Yeah,
So I think DK had like 160 or 170 something.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
Rice
sure.
only had
that's
130.
probably what it is.
He got it.
What did
Yeah.
Did he have the Chiefs rookie record or something? Then?
Probably
They
did,
talked
I
about
would
how
say.
Rasheed Rice had a record after the game when they were interviewing him and shit with Mahomes.
I'm sure he did. But overall,
Okay, sorry.
Rant-
Puka put up 181. That's what.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, but
I
the
mean-
record was 180.
you're not wrong though, Trey. Matt Stafford is not dead, dude. That guy is still so good at football.
Well, I mean,
the
he
guy,
got hurt again. He got hurt
yes,
again.
and he
And he's
keeps
still-
playing. He keeps
Hey,
playing.
He's a fucking cockroach, dude. He's a goddamn cockroach.
He was
He ain't
out
killing.
cold.
You can't.
We
you
were
can't knock
upstairs.
him.
I was upstairs watching the game with Alex and Trap, my roommates, and Alex loves Carson Wentz. Obviously, you guys know that because he's in it. His cousins are from
Indeed,
India, but he's like, yes, sir, let's
Why
go,
it's going
Carson
there?
Wentz. Carson Wentz is going to get his time to shine. I go, I don't know about that. Stafford's gonna come out of that blue tent and he'll be fine.
I don't know how many times I watch that game and they go, "Oh, Carson Wentz the backup," as Matt Stafford's walking back to the tent for the second time this game, but yet still comes back out the very next offensive possession. It's like this dude's a tank, and
Dude
he.
definitely suffered a major concussion that game. And
there's a good chance. There's a good
It
chance,
hurt.
but
It's my shoulder.
The dude is.
you
He
can't
was
knock
super
the fact that they still got within 1 point of beating the Detroit Lions and absolutely just crushing that entire city.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the better games I'd say this weekend,
Yeah,
just because of how
100% it
back
was.
and forth it was.
100% it was. Speaking of a game that wasn't necessarily back and forth, Steelers versus Bills. Just putting it out in the obvious, not a shot, not a dig, just the way it is. It was 19-31 end of the game. It wasn't
It could have
necessarily
been a
back and
one
forth.
Score
Did you guys
doesn't
get
necessarily show how.
Did you guys get scared
It
though?
wasn't that big of a blowout. All right.
No, I was
Huh?
working, so I couldn't even watch the game. For the
Did
most
we
part.
get scared, Dalen?
Yeah.
No. Are you kidding me? It was 21-7. I was like, oh, yep, that's exactly what I expected. 2 fumbles from Pittsburgh.
21-14. You didn't get
the one-
scared when it was 21-14?
The one thing I will say this, you guys made it competitive. There was a lot of other games this weekend that were not close whatsoever. I'm thinking Browns versus Texans. I'm thinking the Eagles versus Bucks that happened just last night, which we'll talk about in a
The
second.
Washington
But,
football team,
or
wait, they didn't make
play.
playoffs.
They didn't make it, but
I didn't want to get embarrassed like that. Sorry.
Dude, the score does not represent how
not embarrassing at all.
Played, all right?
I can see this. Seahawks, Commanders, Saints, and Steelers all have the same playoff record this year. So
cool.
Pick in the end zone.
We have
low reaches.
Oh yeah.
Are you kidding me? Those were just stupid mistakes. How can you say that wasn't embarrassing? Because your quarterback won away for sure.
Wait, it's not embarrassing, bro. How's that embarrassing?
There was
meant to win. The Steelers were putting up a fight the whole time until the fourth quarter.
The Steelers were not embarrassed. They were not embarrassed in this game.
We all know who was going to win the game, bro.
Well, okay, yeah, cool, but still, you can't say they were embarrassing.
Relax.
No, I didn't say.
First of all, that
you did it.
I said the
interception
situations that you put yourself in
were embarrassing. What did he just say?
The turnovers, embarrassing.
But first of all, that interception.
What was that? Dalen, what would you call George Pickens' turnover? An accident? No, that was embarrassing.
Wyatt, let's relax.
The throw, you should have never even thrown that, bro. Embarrassing. Bro, so where are you getting at?
How is that embarrassing though? That shit happens in games.
Yeah, I will say I don't think an embarrassing loss would have been they showed up and they got skunked 40-0. That would have been embarrassing.
I didn't say it wasn't
40-0.
You did say that right away, Wyatt.
The turnovers aren't embarrassing given the fact that Mason Rudolph is a third string quarterback and he was in there and he wasn't scared to throw the ball.
It was your star players that fumbled it. It wasn't even Mason.
Okay, yeah, George Pickens fumbled.
Oh, he fumbled it. What of it? It happens. It fucking happens. What is that? What does that?
Interception. It's not even like it was.
I said it was a mistake. It's one mistake, but it was one that you needed, Trey, wasn't it?
The touchdown. Yeah, we would have loved the touchdown there, obviously. But that interception wasn't like he chucked it straight at the defender. The defender made a good play. You got to also give the defender props on playing good defense and making a good reaction.
Yes, it was a complete bait. It wasn't a bait right there.
Why are you getting so mad about this one?
Because these two Steelers fans want to come at me and say they're not embarrassing turnovers. They're embarrassing turnovers because there's turnovers that should not happen in a game.
All they're saying is they if things happen in the game, it's not like they were mad like, oh, we should have won this game. It's because of one play only is why we didn't win.
They really started that thing. That's why he said, never mind.
What?
All right, let's just relax on that. All I was going to say is you guys didn't play that bad against a team that's very, very good right now. That's hot as shit going into the playoffs.
Thank you,
That's
Zach.
all. That's all I'm going to say about the Steelers. I even talked to you guys afterwards. I said, Trey, you can't be that mad, right? He goes, no, I'm not mad. I mean, he played good. I mean, I can't really complain too much about how it.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts losing. Obviously, the playoff game. Like you never want to lose a game. You don't want to lose a playoff game in general. I mean, yeah, that sucks. But we didn't get I'm glad that we at least. It wasn't like we rolled over and died. We fought.
Yeah.
And the Bills, they looked like they kicked our ass because of the score at the end. But in the long run, I think we played a pretty good game. Bills played better.
Yeah. And as long as a Steelers fan thinks that you guys played well, I mean, that's all you really can ask for, I guess, in this case. We all knew the outcome of this game, so it wasn't like it was a huge surprise by anybody of what happened. There obviously was mistakes that I think we all were expecting at some point.
We don't fumble that ball. If George Pickens doesn't fumble that ball, I think it's a different story.
Yeah.
The game. I think it's closer.
But
I mean, hey, when you turn the ball over on your 30-yard line,
there wasn't just
on the ball.
one play. There wasn't just
we didn't run the ball, but we didn't.
But there was a couple plays that if they would have went some other way, the score would have been a lot different. That's all I'm saying. Or it could have been a lot different. I'm not saying it would have been, but it could have been a lot different. If there was a couple plays that didn't go our way.
Yeah.
Are you talking penalties or just potential breakout? Breakout plays? Okay.
I mean, there's a couple things I can bring up, but we don't have all time to talk about it.
Well, I was going to say on the other end of the ball here for the Bills, Josh Allen looks Darn good. I mean, the guy had a really, really good game. Obviously, we had this game was delayed. It was supposed to be on Saturday, but it got moved to Monday, I believe,
Sunday.
because of all. Was that?
It's supposed to be on Sunday.
Oh, was it on Sunday? I thought it was Saturday for
Supposed
some
to be
reason.
Sunday, got moved to Monday.
Yep. So it got moved the next day just because they had an insane amount of snow. It literally was like not even
40
safe
inches?
to make it to the stadium. They had volunteer people to show up to help shovel out the stadium. Wild scene to begin with. But Josh Allen, amongst all of the snow, amongst all of the mayhem that could have happened, I mean, telling your guys, hey, you're not going to play when you said you're going to play. You're actually going to play on Monday at 3:30 in the afternoon, which is a weird time to begin with for them on like a Monday, completely out of the rhythm. They show up and they look good. I mean, can't deny it. There's a lot of, I think, missed tackles on both sides of the ball there, but there's definitely a piece of like, hey, the Bills look ready to play some football in the playoffs. And I'm scared for the Chiefs going in and going back to Buffalo this coming weekend.
Only thing I have to say about the Bills is they lost. They got a lot of people got injured for them. A lot of their linebackers got beat up. So
just so you know, everyone's expected to play next week.
Okay, well then, never mind. I was just gonna say, well,
Hey,
that could
still
be
still getting banged up.
That could be scary for them having no linebackers with Travis Kelce.
That definitely doesn't help.
They're technically on the IR right now, but they're excuse me, all say expected to be back by January 21st, which is the Sunday night.
Hope so.
And
that brings us to our last game, guys, which is going to be Bucks versus Eagles that took place just last night. A lot of things came out of this game. Obviously, the Bucks dominated the Eagles. Eagles did not look good, and we've been saying this for a lot of weeks now. This might be one of the biggest choke jobs in the entire NFL. The Eagles really fell flat on their face and never got back up the rest of the season. They got to 10-1 at some point. This team was 10-1 and was, I think, weren't they at one point the number one seed in the NFC? Maybe number two right behind the 49ers at one point. But I know the 49ers lost a couple of games there too. But the Eagles literally lost, I think, 5 out of the last 6 games of the season, and not in good fashion either. And they went from looking better and better every single week to looking worse and worse every single week until they finally lost first round of the playoffs to the Bucks, of all people, who we really thought were dead earlier this season. Did not look good. And the Bucks dominated them. Looked like the Bucks were the better team all around.
You have to give Baker. You have to give Baker so much props, bro. Yeah. He's brought that team alive, and I 100% believe that.
Why? What did you say right before we hopped on the pod today? What is Baker?
Baker? Oh, he's what we wanted Johnny Manziel to be, and I think that is so true. Like I wanted
both the same.
To be this, and Baker is now turning into just be that dog who could just run around, make plays, scramble, and just be that excitement that every NFL fan base is hoping for.
This guy's doing smelling salts out on the tunnel, walking to the field, just hyping up everybody, making good throws too, might I add as well. Like Baker found a good home in Tampa, and we all, I think, thought that Baker was literally about to be out of the league here pretty soon. He was on 3 different teams. He was on 3 different teams last season, and nobody wanted him. Then he just got picked up kind of randomly by the Bucks because Tom retired officially, and like we're like, what the heck are they doing with Baker? It's just like it's just like you know, he was just, I think, looked at as kind of like a rental quarterback. You're only going to have him for a year or two at most until you can get somebody else. But no, Baker Mayfield has brought the Tampa Bay Bucks to the divisional round of the playoffs, man. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. Defense looked great against the Eagles too. Overall, the Eagles did not want to play football. That's what it looked like. They did not want to be out there. It's kind of.
I mean, I'd love to hear from Wyatt what he has to say about that Eagles defense.
The stats don't lie, boys.
We can roll the clip. I swear last week I told Wyatt he's gonna eat his words. But yeah. So I'd like to hear what you have to say is the Eagles' fault now.
Because I thought they could because I said the Eagles defense was gonna actually show up because they didn't.
No, they didn't.
No one showed. No one on that team.
No, offensive or defensive.
You know who did show up? Baker.
We've already talked about this.
Baker for the last
10
minutes.
And it's back, baby.
Well,
he took Geno Smith's fucking.
You know what?
He goes. He didn't write back.
It's true.
To further Dalen's point from last week, Dalen, I'll give you some stats over the last 4 games for you. How about
I'd
this?
love to hear it, Wyatt.
So, bro, the last 3,
Bro.
last 3 games, they've given up 1,290 all-purpose yards. That is 124 more yards that they've given up all year, by the way.
That's crazy, dude. So in 3
Next.
games time, they've given up over more than they gave up the entire
100
previous part of the season.
Insane. Linebackers and safeties in coverage, quarterback rating is at 102.8, which is they are completing over 70% of their passing when a linebacker or a safety is on the receiver. That is godright awful, especially in a team that runs zone 80% of the time, because they are bringing 4 to 5 guys every place. Like, you got to drop back into zone. And, I mean, these guys are just getting cooked.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Nick Bosa had the right blueprint for beating this team. I mean, you just keep blitzing and blitzing. I mean, this offense is terrible as well. The pass-to-run ratio is 3-1. I mean, they're passing more than they are running, which last year when Shane Steichen was the offensive coordinator, it was a 5-10, like just complete even pass and run. It's a complete team. Not complete team, a complete different team than what we saw last year. And I mean, it showed. The last team made it to the Super Bowl. This team's a first-round exit with a blowout loss.
I mean, even on the offensive side, that's practically the same offense as last year's Super Bowl team. I mean, pretty much. I don't think there's really a lot that has changed on that team.
Different offensive coordinator, really, to be honest. Yeah.
The only thing that's changed is you might have gotten even a better running back and a different offensive coordinator, and that shows the power of what that looks like. I feel like too. Nick Sirianni, he's kind of I think on the hot seat right now. I think he got some popcorn dumped on him as he was leaving the stadium.
By his own fans.
Him and McCarthy.
Yeah, by his own Eagles fans.
His own fans were holding
You're
signs
done,
of-
Nick. You're
Fire
done.
Nick.
That's what they're
Fire
yelling
Nick.
out.
Popcorn at. They were like in
Which fan
the
base is
stands
it
throwing
harder to be a
popcorn on
coach
walking
of?
in the tunnel.
I don't know if I'd
Is
ever
it harder
wanna
to be a
of the
coach
Eagles, dude.
in Dallas or Philly?
I think it's easy to be a coach in Dallas. Your fans are the more delusional in Dallas than they are in Eagles, in my
That's
opinion.
true if you think about it that
That's
way.
a great that's a great answer, Zach. I like that answer.
They're more delusional than they are in
Philly will keep it
Philadelphia.
real.
Philadelphia's going to say you gave up 2 points this week. No, screw you, man. You're out. They just get pissed about the small shit. Cowboys fans think they're going to win Super Bowl every year. That's easy to be a coach of that team. Every single
Cowboys.
year, you're always going to think you're going to win the Super Bowl. It's crazy.
Cowboys
Now,
beat the
granted,
Titans,
some people
like-
might take that as pressure, though. So
Maybe.
Who's
but
more
I mean,
delusional? Like
it's,
you or
uh,
Philly?
at the same time, they're like, "Oh, it's okay. It's our year. Oh, it's okay. It's our year." That's what they're.
who would you rather be the head coach of, the Eagles or the Cowboys?
I mean, you're probably making more money in Dallas, but
I don't even want to be not that division.
Anyway,
That is
Zach,
true.
which fan base is more delusional, Vikings or the Cowboys?
Dallas.
I think we only
Yeah, I think
understand.
we know as Vikings just because that's everyone.
I was
around.
just gonna say, I think we understand the Vikings delusion that exists in the Midwest more than most people, just because we live here. But I think Dallas is more widely known. It's
They're getting
America's team.
every
I think
day.
it's definitely the Dallas.
I think if
ESPN,
you went-
Fox Sports, whatever
Every
news
sport
you're
or
on.
every state you went to, if it had the Vikings, you put your Vikings whatever the
whoever
fan
your
base-
Viking is, yeah.
in every area you're gonna get shit talk from some Cowboys fan. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah.
You could be
So-
at Love's gas station in the middle of fucking Montana, and someone's gonna bitch you out for wearing a different jersey than the Cowboys. It doesn't.
Yeah.
And they're all the same, no matter what state. All Cowboys fans are the exact same type of fan too. They're all the same.
I mean,
It's like they know Jerry Jones personally.
Jerry and I
do.
go way back.
They know Jerry.
one person
Well-
I believe that is gone is Nick. Another one that I
Sirianni?
think is
I mean,
gone.
Think about it though,
Jason-
guys. He made it to the Super Bowl a year ago.
Last year,
How do you cut him? Get rid of all
There's
of
a-
his grace that he's earned for
Bill,
that. you
Bill
know what I mean?
Belichick's the only one you get rid of. It's the same thing as Mike McCarthy's situation, I think. Go ahead, Dan.
How about
Vrabel?
Doug Peterson? He won a Super
True.
Bowl the next year. They played terrible, and he got
That's
fired.
true. That's true. That is the
Doug's
same
not getting
situation.
fired. What do you mean?
What?
Doug Peterson did.
He was-
When he was the coach
He
of
was
the
with
Eagles.
the Eagles.
The very
Oh,
next
sorry.
season.
I
The
didn't
very
know.
next season he was
My
let
bad.
go.
Doug Peterson
Um,
might be on the hot seat too.
Well, true. I mean, that
Jags.
was a coach
But,
job.
but
They were up
my
5
point was,
games.
whether you think he's gone or not, that'll be a later thing to see if it comes out. But something that was pretty blatant obvious was it might be Jason Kelsey's last game.
I was going to say the last
And
thing
that's-
I'll mention about this
that's
game to kind of cap on this game is Jason Kelsey did officially retire from the NFL, which is sad. It was just sad seeing it because you could tell he was definitely like he already knew going into this game that this was. Oh wait, it's not like this is brand new breaking news too, because if you watch the Kelsey like documentary on Amazon, he pretty much said this is his last season. So it's not like this is like anything new, but it's like, is he actually going to do it? And he did. He did retire officially, which sucks. I mean, he's literally one of the greatest, if not the greatest centers of all time. I mean, he's a future Hall of
Thank you,
Famer.
62.
Thank you, 62. What? That's sad. Yeah, 100%. And it's sad because like it's kind of cool because he definitely became more popular towards the end of his season or towards the end of his career, which for him is probably a good thing, you know, after it. But like for us, it was like it just got started and now he's already out of the NFL. Obviously they have their podcast New Heights, which I'm very interested to see what this episode. This probably is going to be one of their most watched episodes this week because literally it's because I think they probably already recorded it because they post on Wednesday morning. So we'll see what happens tomorrow on New Heights. Not that I'm going to shout them out. Not that they need our shout out by any means, but it's still cool to see what he's gonna have to say about it. It's probably going to be emotional as hell, but I mean. The only thing I think of too is Travis has got to be out of here the next couple of years too. I would assume, honestly, next 2 years. I bet you he's retiring.
He's like sneaky old.
He's 34 years old.
Yeah.
How much younger is he than Jason? He's not that much younger, is he?
I think he's 34. I think he's 3 years. I think it's 3 years because I think Jason's like 36 or 37 right now.
Yeah. So Travis has been in there for.
He's 34 years old. That's an old NFL player.
2014, bro. He got drafted in 2014.
He must have been an older, maybe not, but yeah, I think
he might have been.
He was a senior when he went to the draft.
I was gonna. He's an older rookie then, from the sounds of it, for them for sure. Yeah. But regardless, it was sad to see Jason Kelsey retire, but nothing to obviously go against him. Incredible year, won a Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl champ. I mean. Six-time, I think he was a 6-time Pro Bowl or a 7-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro. Like this guy was a stud. So
yeah, they also last thing they were talking about Cox too. One other personal lineman, but
Fletcher Cox and probably Brandon Graham. I would assume he's old as shit.
He might be retiring too.
I wouldn't doubt that.
Been there for a while, bro, boys.
He's been there so long. He's now turned from like an edge rusher to a fat D lineman and Madden.
Bro, I remember
he's always been built like that. What do you mean?
Bro was coming out the edge in 2008. I remember him vividly, bro. Like what?
Yeah, he's been there for a while.
Always looked like that coming off the edge.
This guy is literally a 350-pound D lineman coming off the edge. It looks like. But thank you, Jason Kelsey, 62, for all that you've given for the sport, and hopefully many more years to come of what you're going to give the football. Appreciate you. Waiting for the Madden tribute card here probably later this week. All right. Well, let's dive into They Did What. We had this segment last week of like kind of all the crazy happenings at the coach situation, that kind of stuff. We'll probably tie this into maybe some other off, when it's in the off season of trades and releases and that kind of crazy stuff too. But towards the end of last week, we did cover a couple of things. We talked about Vrabel was the big one we talked about, which is kind of shocking that he was fired from the Titans. He still is actually out there to get hired, but we mentioned Pete Carroll, how I want him gone. We mentioned that Bill might be gone. He might stay. We don't know yet. Well, to answer, we have an answer for both of those. So Pete Carroll was officially essentially let go as the head coach for the Seahawks, which, like I said, I was kind of happy. I wanted to change, but he's actually been absorbed as like an advisor into the Seahawks like team. So I don't know what that means.
Fire. So
no, he wasn't fired. He essentially was just like, hey, you're no longer the coach, but you're going to be an advisor. So it was kind of it was a nice.
Basically, they fired him.
Yes.
Well,
it was a mutual agreement to.
And when you have a coach that's expensive and you got to pay him, that sucks. Let's be honest.
What I will say with this, little guys, is there's actually been kind of some drama that's been popping up towards the back end of this whole thing, because right away it was pretty like, well, wow, we got rid of Pete, but we kind of absorbed him as like an advisor. So on the team, probably some good. There shouldn't be any bad blood then from the sounds of it. I think he's come out and actually has made some, I would say, pretty aggressive comments towards the Seahawks, like front office and the Seahawks organization as a whole, pretty much saying like the front office head executive people at the team aren't football people and they don't know what they're talking about. I think is the exact
business
quote that
people
he
is what
had.
you're getting
Yeah.
at.
And so I think there's a little bit of like, ooh, maybe there's some animosity towards Pete and the Seahawks right now. I mean, I don't know if Pete Carroll is definitely done coaching. I think there's a chance he goes maybe somewhere else. He's old as hell. He's 72 years old. I mean, he was the oldest coach in the NFL, last year and the previous year before that too. So it's like he's not getting any
Older than
younger.
Bill?
What's that?
He's older than Bill Belichick.
By a
Yeah.
year. Yep,
Yeah.
by a year. He's 72
He
years
don't
old.
look it.
Dude was the head coach. in the
He doesn't look
early
young
2000s.
or old at all.
No. Yeah,
Dude
he's
was the head
72
coach of
years
the
old.
Patriots in 1998. I want to believe
Something like that. Yeah, he coached for the
Yeah.
Patriots a little bit
He
too.
was
I
the
want to
head
say,
coach before Bill got there.
yeah, well, because then he went. He still obviously went. I think went to USC obviously and won a couple championships there too. But so Pete Carroll was officially let go, kind of absorbed as an advisor into the Seahawks team. But there is some kind of weird stuff going on, so we'll see what happens there with that. What is an advisor in an organization in the NFL? No idea. I don't know what that means. I'm sure it just means
I feel like
he's in the building
Washington
still. And
hired
that's
about
about it.
4 of those bad boys. We're stocking them up over here. We're trying to get everyone in this meeting.
I feel like they have him. They kept him around because he brings a certain type of energy. Like you can just tell that watching him on the screen, you can just tell that he brings a certain kind of energy that
he's a player's coach 100%. He's a culture guy 100%. Does he know everything about football? No. I can confidently say Pete Carroll doesn't know everything about football. I can confidently say he makes some dumbass decisions sometimes on the field, but he is one good thing, and that's a culture. He is a great culture setter in wherever he's at. So I think that's one of his biggest strengths as a coach is he can build a good culture no matter where he goes. Not necessarily the best teams or, maybe the best game plans and that kind of stuff, but he is really good at setting culture for a team. So it makes sense to have him still on the organization. So we're looking for a coach. If you guys are, watching and you want to apply, I think we'd appreciate it. I'd speak on behalf of the Seahawks. I appreciate you guys are reaching out to us to get a head coach because we need one of those to play football next year. So we'll see what happens. I think Dan Quinn's been on the looks for us. I think maybe one of the front runners, but who knows what he's going to do. He might honestly just stay in Dallas with the team he just had and the year he just had for them, but never know. But that's Pete Carroll. Next piece, Bill Belichick. The dynasty in New England has officially ended between him and Brady.
They did what?
They did what is exactly right. They did mutually part ways. Him and Robert Kraft did mutually part ways, meaning Bill Belichick is no longer the head coach of the Patriots or affiliated with the Patriots whatsoever anymore. He's no longer the GM. He's no longer the head coach, and he will be looking to coach somewhere else this coming season.
I was going to say, do you think he's going to coach somewhere else, or do you think he's just going to be done?
100% he's going to coach somewhere else. He's, I think, only a season or two away from the all-time win record. I think he wants to get it.
Game.
He'll get it, I would assume, in 2 seasons. At least that's his hope. You're not going to get it in 1, but unless you're crazy good. But I would assume 2 seasons.
He's going to have to go to a team where, because he's one of those guys, like, he needs full control. He's not just going to be the head coach. He's going to be the 100%. GM. He's got to be.
That's why I don't think he's going to Washington, bro. I mean, we just hired a new GM.
He's not
Adam Peters. That's what everyone wants to say. He's coming to Washington. I don't believe that at all. I mean, we are bringing in winners into our program right now, and I really do think Mike Vrabel might be our number one go after head coach. Just
I think Mike Vrabel's the number one guy, period, for any team. To be honest with you,
I think so. I mean, obviously, Bill Belichick. You got his Super Bowls. It's Bill Belichick. I mean,
I would agree with you, Zach.
How many years does Bill have?
Not to interrupt you, but I just, in general, it's not just man. It's like literally anybody probably would want Mike Vrabel out of anybody.
No, you're 100% correct.
Right now.
Vrabel brings that culture. He brings that vibe. He's players coach. He's probably, if not the best players coach, top 3 players coach.
Okay, I like where you're going
because Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick, they're both Pete Carroll obviously staying with the Seahawks, but they're both old. Like Vrabel's, he's got plenty of years left.
Young. He's got years left. You can build something with him.
All right, so to further on my point, so Adam.
Sorry.
For those who don't know who Adam Peters is, Adam Peters was John Lynch's right-hand man when he was he's still in San Francisco, But I mean, obviously, you've seen what San Francisco has built there, and he's one of the most sought after GMs, and we were managed to get him. I mean, obviously, bringing in Bob Myers from the Golden State Warriors, who built the dynasty there. It's like we are bringing in winners, and I just like the direction of where we're headed as like a front office standpoint. So that's where I think like the players coach, to Trey's point, would be a great fit for us, and I think Mike Vrabel would just be able to just come in and just take these young kids and just develop them into something very just supernaturally just gifted athletes.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that Mike Vrabel, there's so many situations that he could do well in just because he's that good. You know what I mean? So it's like he really has any place he wants to go. He's going to
took a Marcus Mariota 4-11 team to a damn near number one, or he actually was the number one seed in the
They were the number one seed that year
with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, with
quarterback.
Ryan Tannehill. Yeah.
Obviously, that was Derrick Henry's like prime, who was unstoppable. But at the same time, Ryan Tannehill was still your quarterback. You can't ignore that fact.
I mean, they also had the defense too, and that defense was heavily ranked.
Yeah,
and I think Mike Vrabel was a big part of that.
All that being said, Bill Belichick is on, in the search for a new place to go. Like you said, though, we talked about which team is willing to give up so much control for Bill, because he's going to want it. He's used to being the GM and the head coach. He's probably going to want something similar no matter where else he goes now. Is it the Chargers? Chargers are, I think, are one of the most popular spots to go right now that don't have a coach, because they have such a talented offense, or a talented roster in general, I should say.
But I also don't think Bill's going to want to be doing like the whole rebuild bullshit. He's going to want a team that's an established roster. He doesn't want to sit there and rebuild. He wants a team that's got a roster. And like you said, LA has a roster. They really don't have like a lot of rebuild.
They've had a roster for the last couple of years too. Just can't.
That Chargers team is also looking to cut some pieces off, because obviously the salary cap's going over the limit here. It's like it's going to be depending on who they keep and like where everyone's sitting at in the salary cap for him to take that job. But also, there's a reason why Bill Belichick has been in the league for over 30 to 40 years. He's adapted, bro. He's adapted to every situation. And to think that Bill Belichick's not going to adapt to not running a full organization is stupid of us to even think that, I think.
You're not wrong.
I don't know if you would say
great coach. First off, don't ever get that question. Like, dude can coach out of his mind. He doesn't need to be in the front office. It's just personally, he wanted to be in the front office because he was going to be with the Patriots for an extended amount of time. And he probably knew that. Like, especially to win 6 Super Bowls, you got to know you're going to be in that building for an extremely long time, except for these last 2 years. You're starting to realize the decline of it. And maybe he made some wrong decisions. But also, Bill's smart enough when to take the reins off. Like, let go of the reins and let the horse drive itself. Like,
but I think personally, I don't necessarily wouldn't say Bill Belichick's adaptive. I think he likes it his way and only his way. I mean, he's only been with the Patriots for
culture-wise. I would agree with you
so long. I just don't think that he's gonna give up the reins. I think that's the only way he's gonna. I think that's the only way he takes another job.
He doesn't call plays. He's basically there.
Defense. He's a defensive head coach. He's a defensive head coach.
Matt Patricia called him. His son Steve, the linebacker coach, was first calling him at the beginning of the year. Matt Patricia was the guy calling him at the end of the year.
Bill Belichick is a coach. He's one of the best defensive coaches out there.
Actually,
I get what Trey's saying.
But he is a defensive oriented.
He's a defensive minded coach. Yes, absolutely. He's going to have his hand in everything. I'm not saying that, but he's not the one calling the plays at this very moment. So that's why I think it's for him. It's easier for him to let go of the reins, just because
I don't think he wants
there to be a coach.
I think I can see both sides of it for sure. I see what you're saying too, Wyatt, because he is an adaptive coach when it comes to on the field. He's always looking. He's always looking to throw wrinkles in. That's why he's been so successful for so long. But I think there is a level of it's going to be different if he had full control and now he's only getting partial control.
I think that's part of the reason why he left the Patriots, because they wanted to.
But also, he's on the verge of retiring. You got to think about that, boys.
True. Maybe he does. Maybe he is just trying to work his way out, just be the head coach, and then get his record, and then say see you later. Could very well be what he does.
What happened?
Could be what he does, but we have no idea. The only other person I want to talk about that is for sure done, at least at this point, in the coaching football world, which is Nick Saban. Not a huge college program, as we always talk about, but we do talk about it here and there when things happen.
Could be.
Could be if you wanted to. Maybe next year. Maybe next season of Turf Talks, we might talk about.
Me and Spence will be going at it though. I don't know if you guys want that.
It's true.
Spencer, the reigning champ.
It's true. Spence does have that on you, Wyatt. He literally could say,
He is
look
your
at my
daddy.
ring. Look at my ring.
And I could say, look at the last 20 years and tell me how that went.
Well, that's what
Well,
you do.
we're
You're
talking
like a
about this
Cowboys
year.
fan, dude.
Oh, wait,
Hey, you are a Cowboys
Reminiscing
fan
in the
of the college.
past. Reminiscing in the past.
1992, buddy.
In the past.
Inaugural season,
Always
dude.
buddy.
A third string quarterback.
You should be thinking about the present, not the past.
Wisconsin
No,
in the Big
that's
Ten
where we
championship.
draw the
We're on
line. You
down
cross the
south.
line, Wyatt. And that's where we stop.
All
That's
right,
where you died, Spencer?
before
That's
we
where I
get
draw
into
the
it,
line.
Nick, before we get too far into it, before Wyatt and Spence literally start screaming at each other about who's better, who's not better, Wyatt starts talking about championships that they won 20 years ago. So on and so
2014,
forth.
actually, the inaugural
Next
season of
year
college
anyways.
football playoff. I think that was a long time ago. That ain't 20 years, buddy.
That's 10
Still
years.
the
Sorry.
past.
It's 10 years ago.
It's the inaugural season, and also
Still
we
the
made more
past.
playoffs than you. And also, go on, Zach.
All right.
You guys
Nick
went last
Saban.
year?
Nick
You guys went
Saban,
last
who
year? I didn't think so.
Done.
Nick Saban,
Did the
who
last
has
4 years
more
before that.
championships
He only did
than
twice.
both of y'all. Nick Saban has more championships than both of y'all. I think he has 7 altogether championships he's won in college.
No.
Well, if you want to include BCS, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say he might have more than.
Okay.
Well,
regardless.
Either way,
More than Ohio
He's
State.
one of the
though.
best football
He's-
coaches of all time.
yes.
Yeah,
we're-
Bought
All
and paid
time.
for. Bought and paid
he,
for.
he retired kind of suddenly this last week. I believe on Friday he was officially announced he's retiring from just coaching in general, not just Alabama. He's not just stepping down. The exact wording was he's retired. So he's just done coaching. I think there's some health issues. I think he mentioned is like it just took out a lot out of him this last season for whatever maybe is happening and stuff like that. Maybe it's because I know what you're going to say, Spencer. Maybe it's because he can't keep up with the new NIL deals and how nobody wants to go to Alabama anymore.
No,
He
it's-
has no
bro,
leverage.
He can't promise players that he's going to be there for another 4 years. That's
All I
the
want to
real
say
thing.
is give Reggie Bush the Heisman back. Let's just leave it at that.
You know
I
what?
will agree with that.
I agree with Spence there. Hell yeah. Give Reggie his Heisman back.
Let's make that the thumbnail, shall we? Just give Reggie his Heisman back. Just
I
not
say-
even related to anything we talked about.
I say we give Reggie the Heisman back. That's all I give a shit about.
Hey,
Also,
uh,
shout out
Can we get
Kalen
Reggie
DeBoer.
his
Yeah, I was
keeping
gonna
of
say
Dakota
they also just got their replacement too.
Yes.
Good old South Dakota.
Kalen DeBoer used to be a
Milbank.
coach of USF. Is he from Millbank?
Yeah.
from Milbank.
Not Millbank. I was thinking of Webster. I was thinking,
1-3
another guy
NIL
from
title.
Webster that blew up.
It's like
Close enough.
30 miles.
But yeah, Kalen DeBoer, who coached at USF, then coached I think somewhere else, right? Fresno or not?
Fresno.
Or was it?
Yeah, Fresno State was the head coach in 2019.
And then he coached for the Washington Huskies, who just went to the national championship and lost to Michigan. It's just this last year. Now he's officially been hired on as Alabama's new head coach. Huge
Insane.
deal.
Doesn't he have an
Huge.
insane record? Like just in college football?
I think
Like
he's only lost
only
12
had, like
He has
14
3
losses.
NAIA national champions at USF. So, and he had like 5 career total losses at USF. So,
I think
Oh, he's
Isn't he
better
like,
than
isn't he
Saban.
like 129 and like 14 or something like
Yeah,
that?
I think he was got like
he, has,
12
he actually
total
does
losses.
have a very good record. Yes.
Dude's
Yeah, it's
an
crazy.
insane coach. Just
Well, and
goes
he's
everywhere,
an
wins.
offensive play calling coach, right? Like he called their offense at Washington, didn't he?
I can't confirm that, Dalen. I don't think he did.
I can't confirm that.
I can't. Because he's got the play chart in his hand, but I don't ever see him calling the play, I don't think.
He never
Yeah.
looks at it. So I'm having a hard time saying he's calling. That's funny.
Yeah, I do.
But yeah, regardless, so Nick Saban's already been replaced with Kalen DeBoer, which, hey, good for them. I mean, good for South Dakota. We're getting our name out there between Brock Lesnar and Kalen DeBoer in college football right now.
Hey,
It's
don't
been
forget
Dallas
about Josh
Goddard.
Hypo, Mr. Aberdeen man at Tennessee. Don't forget about him. He's still making
true.
Dallas
waves.
Goddard.
We used to have the head coach for the Sacramento
bring up
Kings. at
Brock
one point, too.
Lesnar.
Yep, did have him.
Why are you bringing up Brock Lesnar before Dallas Goddard, Tucker Kraft?
Because Brock Lesnar is by far the
Brock
most
Lesnar.
popular.
Hey man,
Brock Lesnar is the most popular guy from
Goddard-
South Dakota.
Dallas Goddard
Right.
got knocked out
100%.
too.
Chad
Very
Greenway.
family-friendly.
Chad Greenway.
From Minnesota, maybe. Yeah.
Chad Greenway.
Vinatieri.
Think about it. Vinatieri is one of the greatest
Vinatieri?
of all time, but he's not talked about as much as like
But
Brock
is Vinatieri
Lesnar is.
is Vinatieri from South Dakota, or did he just go to school here?
No, he was born in Volga. He went to SDSU. Yes.
He also
was born in Volga,
he went
okay.
he played I think at Rapid City, didn't he? Like where he kicked and stuff initially.
I just
I
saw
thought-
that he was born in Volga, so I don't know.
I think he went to school in Rapid City, played for SDSU, played for like the Admiral or the Anaheim or what is it? Amsterdam Admirals or whatever that league is called. Kicked for them, then he went to the NFL.
Oh, the indoor.
Where was Chad Greenway from?
I don't know where Chad Green. Well, he went.
he
Wait,
was
where's
born in Dakota.
This is McCord.
With McCord. Yeah.
Is it Mitchell? Mitchell. It's Mitchell.
Mitchell, yep.
That's what it is. Mitchell.
Mike Miller. Forgot about Mike Miller.
Miller. Yeah.
We got a bunch of legends.
Hey, he's actually his I think one of his like restaurants, Let It Fly is what it's called, is coming to Aberdeen.
I've eaten there.
Yeah,
Is it good?
they've been talking about it, but
They have one here in Sioux Falls.
they actually
Yeah, I
did.
think there's one coming up to Aberdeen. It's gonna be in the old Perkins spot.
Yeah, didn't they
Very
just
mid.
Falls Trey?
Very mid.
Oh.
I
Well-
think it's newer.
It'll be good
not
for
very
us
good.
up here.
This another
Oh yeah,
South Dakotan like that,
in
bro.
Aberdeen, it's gonna be a hit.
Nice. Hell yeah. I'll take that. All right. Well, before we get too far into it, that's kind of like they did what segment there. Let's dive into our second round of the playoffs, guys, just to take a look at our pick'ems as well with this too, because we don't have an official like I should say pick'ems list for us to go through. I'll just pull up the actual screen here. So let me get this pulled up here. I apologize.
Bro, I felt good. I felt good on Saturday.
You felt good on Saturday?
It started going downhill.
Oh, no, I know.
It went down. The only
I
game
went.
that
I believe I went perfectly 3 for 3 with how everything shaped out. I think I actually struggled more in the NFC than I did the AFC.
I
if I'm
just
not
missed one
mistaken.
game, so
Ooh, Wyatt's a dog. All right. Share my screen quick and here we go. I'll zoom into here for you guys if you can. Is that good? No, we don't have to zoom in for that. All
there
right.
you go.
So Saturday, we have the Texans versus Ravens, which is going to be a crazy good game in my opinion. I think it could go both ways. And again, we also have the Packers versus 49ers. We just talked about this before the pod too, Wyatt. I think, and this is a good take up that you had, you said that the Texans and the Packers are practically in the same boat. They're both very good underdog teams with great quarterback play right now, but also they're playing one of the best teams in the NFL. If either one of these teams make it out of this next week, I think they have my vote to potentially make it to the actual Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you as well. Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, I could get behind the Texans and
I
Lions.
think so too. I think we should start there.
That would be.
I think that's the
one
most
hell of a
reasonable
game.
matchup wise. Like they've already played each other. I
would-
mean,
I don't think it's
think
gonna
that would be
be
the
close.
most exciting game.
It's not gonna be close.
You don't think?
But
coming from
I mean,
both
I think the Ravens are going to get the win personally, but it's the same thing. Not as bad as the Cowboys was for me, but I think it's the same thing though, where I definitely feel more on the side of, like the Ravens will win, but I don't know. It's not like 100%. It's not 100% guarantee in my opinion.
I mean, nobody thought that the Texans were going to go out there and dominate the Browns defense like they did. The Browns defense was supposed to be this. Okay, Wyatt thought they did. We're gonna. But nobody like the Browns
Trey,
defense
what
was supposed to be this top
Didn't you
tier
pick them
defense.
to win?
I mean, the Texans. Well, I probably picked them to win because I hate the Browns. But
So you had no faith.
The-
You were just going out
the Browns are supposed to have this top tier defense, and what did the Texans do? They dominated them. The Ravens have a top tier defense.
Yeah.
I mean, and apparently the Texans defense is legit too. I mean, so who knows? I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah,
personally, but
Depending on how the weather goes.
it's true. It is in Baltimore. I'm going to go Baltimore in this one for me, guys. I'm going to pick the Ravens, but I'm not confident.
I'm rocking with Texans. I think
I got the Ravens. I gotta back my boy Lamar.
I'm gonna have to stick with my vote against everybody in the AFC North other than the Steelers. So I'm gonna have to go Texans.
Okay. Cool. What or Spence? What do you think?
No brainer. Ravens.
Right? He's going Ravens. On the other side of the bracket, we have Packers versus 49ers. I am going to pick the Green Bay Packers. Now,
I can get behind that.
Matchup wise,
I can do it.
it's the same situation. They have
Here,
nothing.
Zach.
The Packers have nothing to lose. The 49ers have all the pressure on them. And not to mention, same thing with the Ravens. They haven't played football in 3 weeks. This is their third week with finally now playing football again for their starters. That's a long time of resting. And I feel like if you wait more than a week, resting does not help you in the NFL. It actually hurts you because you're not in that football game ready mindset. So I think off the Packers, the way they played, I have a really good feeling that they're going to get this win against the
1,000%, Zach.
And Jordan Love is red hot right now. Red hot.
I agree with everything you just said. Great.
Sure.
Great work.
Thank you.
Great work out of you, kid.
Appreciate it. Thank you. What do you guys think?
The Packers are so red hot, just like Trey said. Not even Jordan Love, their whole offense. It's going to be
kind of
tough.
like this underdog story. Like I like seeing all these new teams in the playoffs. Like I don't want to keep seeing the same. Okay, I guess granted, Packers aren't really necessarily a new team,
but it is a new team because it's not the same Packers.
It's not the same Packers. It doesn't feel like the same Packers. Maybe Jordan Love throws the ball like Aaron Rodgers, but I don't. I think I'm gonna go with Packers.
Matchup wise, I think this is a no-brainer. I think you got to go 49ers here. I just straight up on both sides of the ball. Like the DNs coming off the edge of the 49ers are way different than Dallas. They're bigger. I mean, you got DeForest Buckner holding down the middle. You can plug your ears all you want, Dalen. That's fine. I went 5 and 6 this weekend.
My ears, brother.
I think.
Yeah. How did the Eagles do?
Okay, my one loss. Keep talking about my one loss. They want to talk about my losses, but they don't want to talk about my wins.
All right, let's go.
I'll take the Niners.
Buckner on the Colts.
All right, so Spencer takes the Niners. So does Wyatt. The rest of us are going to take the Packers in this one.
Wait. Just pause. I just got big information that you're all going to love to hear.
What's that?
Falcons announced they interviewed Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh for their head coaching.
Whoa! Breaking news, right? Live on the pod.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
I ain't worried.
Do you imagine if he goes to the Falcons, your arch nemesis?
That was another guy that we didn't talk about. I mean,
he needs a quarterback if he's going anywhere. Come on.
JJ McCarthy going to the draft.
You ain't drafting him.
Dude, imagine if he does though.
He wouldn't.
That sounds like a match made in heaven. I mean, look at Wyatt. Wyatt's already thinking about it now.
It's going to become the Atlanta
I'm
Wolverines.
thinking how stupid of a thought that is. Do you think JJ McCarthy is going to go in the top 10? Really? You really think he's going to go in the top 10?
Who says they have to draft him in the top 10? They got other round picks.
Okay.
Never know. All right, keep going. That's the top on Saturday.
This isn't a later thing.
All right.
They didn't play with a quarterback this year, and look what happened.
Who does everyone have, Zach?
What? So everybody, so Wyatt and Spencer had the 49ers. We had the Packers. Same thing on the Ravens. I had the Ravens. So did Spence. You had Ravens as well. They're Galen. But Trey and Wyatt had Texans on that one too.
I'm sticking with the underdogs.
And then that brings us to Sunday, Bucks versus Lions. We talked about this one too. The Lions look brand new. I'm excited for them. I want them to win, but the Bucks look like a hot and ready to win underdog team, nothing to lose. So this could, again, be another great game. I'm going to go Lions, but again, I don't feel confident in it. I think the Bucks could easily pull this game out too, though.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Lions just based off that it's at home.
Yeah.
I think it's so hard to play there.
I know I've been on record saying the Lions are frauds, but I would like to see a Lions Texans Super Bowl. I think that
I want to see.
It'd be cool. Lions win by 10.
It'd be cool.
Lions Packers would go crazy.
They played early in the season. They were missing 8 of their 9.
Yeah, Packers Lions NFC Championship game, divisional rival practically in the NFC Championship game. Would be crazy.
It is divisional rival. Yeah.
I know, literally, it would be another divisional game. But I got Lions in this one. You guys will have Lions too. I don't think anybody picked the Bucks then.
Fuck the Bucks.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it'll be a good game for sure. Like Baker Mayfield.
Regardless, it'll be a
ready.
great game.
Another week.
Yeah, Baker had his week. Get him the fuck out.
That's for sure.
Ooh,
All right.
yeah.
All right. And that brings us to the last one, Chiefs versus Bills. That's going to be our Sunday night game. Crazy match that this is going to be. They have a ton of history in the playoffs against going against each other. I think Bills should win this game, in my opinion. It's
Bills
in
by
Buffalo.
millions.
It's going to be in the elements, I feel like. I think the Bills
Chiefs can
have
play in the
a lot-
elements. Chiefs
They
can
have-
play. No.
Whoa. Before anyone makes a decision here, Patrick Mahomes' first true road playoff game, by the way. He's had
Literally,
15
that's insane.
only at home in the Super Bowl. So
Sure.
this is his true first road game, and give me the Bills by a million.
That don't matter.
by a million.
Give me the Chiefs
Bills
by a milli, and I'll be watching the game with Wyatt.
You know, I am
You want to watch this Packers San Francisco game? Because you're hot on that one too, buddy.
I sure will. Might as
I'm
well
an
live
avid
stream.
Chiefs supporter.
Buddy.
I'm a fan of Mr. Kelsey. I mean, I'm going Chiefs.
All right.
Oh, did you just say you're a Swiftie?
And then Spence, who are you picking on this one?
Yes, I am.
I
By
got
transitive
Bills.
property, I am.
You got Bills too. So
I think-
that's what 3 Bills, 2 Chiefs.
I think that the last time it was between heads or tails, and now I think it's gonna be Bills Mafia.
Yeah, hell
Jumping
yeah,
through
baby.
fucking tables, smashing beer cans on top of their
Well,
head.
I mean, maybe they won't have Kadarius Toney line up off sides this time.
That might help. That might help.
yeah. Well, this is the playoffs, so who knows? He's probably not
And
even
guess
gonna
who
be showing
doesn't
up.
lose in the playoffs?
Yeah, this is the playoffs, and you guys are
He's
betting.
Who
right.
against-
doesn't lose in the playoffs?
You're not wrong. Patrick
Yeah,
Mahomes.
I'm trying to
does
make
not
money
lose
Yeah,
in the playoffs.
only at home, Trey.
Dalen, I lost. I got lost.
Well, unless you're-
I got last.
actually, I
We'll
take
see.
that back.
So
We'll
I'm
see.
just trying to make some money.
You lost to the
know.
Bengals.
You're
This
trying
guy's
to
trying
make
to cash in. Trying to cash in a bet here.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll fuck it. Give me the fucking Texans to win the Super Bowl, I guess. Then.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
I placed a bet beginning of the summer when I was in DC at the MGM, and it was for the Seahawks to win the Super
That
Bowl.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah. You missed out on 4 pizzas.
How are
for
you in
Little
DC
Caesars, Zach.
placing it at the MGM?
There's an MGM there.
There's an MGM there.
Yeah, Trey.
Well, then fuck me.
You think there's just one MGM and it's in
I
Las
mean, when I
Vegas?
think of MGM, I think of fucking Las Vegas.
No, there's more than one MGM, Trey. there's all over the place.
It's actually hilarious.
Yes, so there's an MGM in DC. I went there one day this last summer, and I placed a bet just because I could at in the sports betting stuff, and it was for the Seahawks to
Oh,
win.
just because you could, what does that mean?
It means
You got it like that, I get it, dude.
I'm addicted to the game.
Easy, buddy. Your pockets
got it
are
like
heavy.
that.
You get it.
But it was $20, and if they would have won or made it, or I should say, if they won it, I would have won $660. I lost $20. Guys, it's going to be a great weekend of football. Again, let us know in the comments below. What should they let us know in the comments below, guys? What should they let us know?
Super Bowl predictions.
Oh, no.
We did that last
Nope.
week.
We did it last
Oh.
week. I know what we're going to do.
Oh.
Who would you rather be the coach of, the Cowboys or the Eagles? As
I
in,
like
who is a more obnoxious team to have to be a coach of? Is
And
it
both, let's make that a two-parter. Also, the first part that we asked was, what did Trey say?
Which
what
fan base is more delusional,
which
Vikings or
fan base is
Cowboys?
more delusional? No, I think
we're gonna
Get
get a lot.
Reggie is Heisman back.
Oh,
so many
That's
statements.
not a
so many
debate.
things
That's not a
being said
debate.
all
No
at
one
once.
needs to put that in the
are we
comments.
starting a
already know
petition
that.
here?
Yeah,
Start
let's start it
petition.
right here. Can you imagine if we actually start a movement for this? And
Every
Somebody-
like
and we're
is
quoted.
one chance
We're
to get
quoted in the
Reggie's
New York
Heisman
Times as this petition was started on Turf Talks podcast to get Reggie Bush his Heisman back.
One of
That'd be
the
fun.
Every
viewers
like is a
write it up.
signature.
That's what we're going to bring
Somebody
to
write it up
Congress.
and
We're going to bring it to Congress.
We'll put it out there
Well, we're going to do it for you,
Hell yeah.
Reggie, for
for
you.
you, Reggie.
Well, hey, that's a
Saints
podcast,
legend.
guys. Appreciate you guys as always for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. And peace.